Hello and welcome everyone to your Tuesday edition of the Daily 8 on the News 8 Live Desk. Phil Penarski here with the top 8 stories you need to know on this hot day. We've got a look at your forecast, which should give you an outlook at when and how long this heat is going to last here in West Michigan in just a bit. But first, we have some somewhat breaking news to get to, and it's all about the new soccer stadium and amphitheater coming to Grand Rapids. Earlier this morning, the Michigan Strategic Fund Board unanimously voted to approve the transformational brownfield plan incentive package, which would grant about $252 million to Grant Action 2.0. They're in charge of those two big projects coming to Grand Rapids and several others to revitalize that part of downtown along Market Avenue and near US 131. This will, of course, go a long way to covering the estimated $700 million it is expected to take to pay for all of these new renovations coming to the city for that stadium and amphitheater. To be more specific, definitely some big things coming to the city of Grand Rapids. And we're also following the latest in the murder case against former MSP Sergeant Brian Keeley. On Monday, a judge ruled that the case would be moved to federal court. Keeley is charged in the death of Samuel Sterling back on April 17th. Keeley was driving a police cruiser during a chase that struck Sterling, who died hours later. The decision to move this case moves this case actually out of Kent County Circuit Court. Last week, another judge bounded the case over, saying there was enough evidence to continue. And we head to Ottawa County now for this next story, where we now have confirmed that the county will have to pay the legal fees of Health Officer Adeline Hambly. A Muskegon County Circuit Court judge made that ruling that the county will now have to pay more than $188,000 to cover the legal fees. This, of course, stems from Hambly's lawsuit against the county for terminating her. Back in February, though, the two sides came to an agreement that the county would dismiss any incompetence, negligent, or misconduct charges against Hambly, and that she in turn would drop her lawsuit and remain the health officer there in Ottawa County. And today, after former President Donald Trump made a stop in Detroit for the National Guard Conference, his running mate J.D. Vance is making a stop in Michigan as well. Vance is headed to Big Rapids today to discuss the economy, inflation, and manufacturing. That's according to a news release we got from the Trump and Vance campaign. This will come ahead of October's scheduled debate against Minnesota Governor and current Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Walz. Doug Emhoff, the second gentleman, is also planning a trip to Grand Rapids this Thursday to campaign for his wife, Vice President Kamala Harris. And as the race for the White House is heating up, so too is the weather here in West Michigan. Like I said, it is very, very hot out today. Multiple school districts, in fact, in our area have instituted half days and even full-on closures due to the heat. This is because some of the schools don't have air conditioning, and with temperatures approaching record highs today, it could pose a threat to students. Temperatures will hopefully subside as the week progresses. No word yet, though, has been made if schools will close or take half days again on Wednesday, as again, this heat is expected to stick around for a little bit. And the heat is pretty unbearable, but the city of Kalamazoo is working to get ahead of it and asking students to actually not open up fire hydrants as a means of trying to cool off. We've seen it time and time again. We can imagine people opening up those fire hydrants trying to cool off. In a news release this morning we got from the city, they said that there has been a significant increase in people opening up the fire hydrants in the city, and they're just trying to crack down on it. Opening up the fire hydrants, they said, can in fact cause some serious injuries, traffic jams, and even damage to pipes that are underground. If you are in need of cooling off, the city does suggest that you head on down to one of the many splash pads in the area. They will be open during this heat wave, of course. Now let's send it over to Storm Teammate Meteorologist. Like I said, we're going to take a look at how hot it's going to be and for how long. So Matt Kirkwood, Storm Teammate Meteorologist Matt Kirkwood, is joining us now with a look at your forecast.
Okay, quite an interesting day. We have probably what's going to turn out to be our hottest day of the summer when you factor in the heat and humidity. Heat index valley is likely going over 100 degrees this afternoon. And then we have to cope with some chances of thunderstorms one round moving through this morning. And we could see more develop later on today and especially tonight. Hourly planner has the heat on, mid-80s at noon. It's probably going to feel pretty close to 90 at that point and well into the 90s, even lower on the hundreds during mid-afternoon. That's why we have a heat advisory out there for basically 10 a.m. right now through 10 p.m. tonight. And with all that heat and humidity, thunderstorms love that, and we could see some strong, if not severe ones, throughout the region. today and also tonight. Looks like things going to become a little cooler in the 8-day forecast. We're still going to hang on to some warm temperatures and humidity right through Friday. Then a sharp cold front moves through on Friday, and that's going to cool us off this upcoming Labor Day weekend. Just an isolated chance of a shower Sunday. Most of the weekend looks great.
All right, thanks, Matt. And we have one last story for you on your Tuesday. Lori's Voice, a local nonprofit that aims to help children living with disabilities, recently awarded a new accessible van to a family in Rockford. This is the 8th brand new van the charity has gifted to families in need. This one will benefit the Prosser family and their 6-year-old son, Ben, who is living with cerebral palsy. Ben was selected out of 300 applicants to receive the vehicle. The van will now be used to give Ben Prosser and his family some additional freedoms. All right, well, that is going to do it for us today on this edition of the Daily 8. And as a reminder, you can find more on all of these stories that we mentioned and also check out replays of all of our Daily 8s and so much more simply by heading on over to our website, woodtv.com. I want to thank everybody for tuning into this latest edition of the News 8 Live Desk. I'm Phil Pinarski, and we will see you again tomorrow with 8 more stories on another Daily 8.